Look at your yard for a minute. The strip of dirt next to the driveway that bakes every afternoon. The slope along the side of the house that you've stopped trying to plant. The seam between the front walkway and the lawn that looks like the yard never quite got finished. The shaded corner under the maple where 4 hostas died one at a time. The thin border where everything blooms in June and quits by August. And the patch that's been bare since whoever lived there before you gave up on it. 6 ugly spots. Almost every American yard has at least 3 of them. Most homeowners think they missed the window for fixing those spots. They think planting in late May means waiting another full year, so they don't bother, and the bare ground stays bare straight through summer. That's wrong. Soil temperatures across most of the country are sitting in the sweet spot right now for getting perennial roots into the ground. The trick is choosing plants that fill in fast, in the spots they were actually built for, not pretty plants thrown into random places. 11 perennials, 6 ugly problems. 1 realistic plan to fix all of them before summer hits. The reason most fast-spreading perennial lists fail homeowners isn't that the plants don't work. It's that the plant gets matched to the wrong yard problem. A perennial that explodes on a hot, dry slope will sit there sulking under a shade tree. A ground cover that fills in under a maple will rot out in the strip beside the driveway. The plant isn't broken, the match is. So this video is organized differently. Each plant is paired with a specific kind of spot, in the conditions you'd actually find there in a real American yard. If your problem is a bald patch under a tree, skip ahead to that section. If it's a slope that washes out every spring, you'll find that one too. By the end, you'll have 11 specific perennials, and you'll know exactly which one belongs where. A quick note on timing. Late May planting is still reasonable in many zones 4 through 7 yards, especially if you water carefully through establishment. In hotter southern zones, this is no longer a casual spring planting window. Plant early in the morning or evening, mulch lightly, and expect to water more often through the first month. The April-only framing some channels push is too rigid, but late May planting still has to respect heat. For many of these perennials, the window stays open into early June in cooler regions, while much of the South gets a better second planting window in fall. Now, before another bare slope or another empty strip eats one more season, let's start where most yards need the most help. A slope is the spot homeowners give up on first. It's hard to mow safely. It dries out faster than flat ground, and every heavy rain takes a little more topsoil with it. Lawn doesn't really want to be there. What you want there is a plant that grabs the soil, holds it down, and quietly fills in until there's no bare dirt left for water to wash away. Phlox subulata, the creeping phlox, is the classic for this kind of slope, and it earns the reputation. It hugs the ground at 4 to 6 inches tall, sends out trailing stems that root themselves wherever they touch soil, and turns a slope into a sheet of color in early spring. The species is hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, so it covers most of the country with one plant choice. The bloom show is brief. 2 to 3 weeks of dense pink, magenta, white, or pale lavender, depending on the cultivar. But the reason it earns space on a slope isn't really the bloom. It's what it does the other 50 weeks. The foliage stays low and dense year-round, semi-evergreen in mild winters, and it holds the soil in place when nothing else is doing that work. Where to put it? A sunny slope, the top of a retaining wall where it can cascade down, the edge of a raised bed losing soil to runoff, or the band of yard between a sidewalk and a lawn that gets too much sun for grass. Plant it in full sun to light shade, in well-drained soil. Avoid soggy spots. Heavy clay needs to be loosened with a few inches of compost worked in before planting. One honest note about timing. If you plant in late May, you'll miss this year's bloom. That's fine. The roots will spend the rest of the season anchoring in. The foliage will fill in slowly through summer, and next April you'll get the full color show.
The plant doesn't waste a season. It just spends the first one underground.
After the bloom finishes, shear it back lightly. One cut, no more than a third of the plant's height. That single trim keeps the center from going woody and pushes the trailing stems to spread further the following year. For the part of the slope where even creeping phlox struggles, the bone-dry stretch where the sun bakes the soil and runoff strips the surface, the plant that actually thrives there is creeping sedum. Two cultivars are worth knowing. Sedum spurium, dragon's blood, grows to about 4 inches tall with deep green leaves that turn burgundy in fall and red in winter. Sedum John Creech stays even lower, around 3 inches, with rounded green leaves that form a tight mat. Both are hardy in USDA zones 3 to 8, and both spread by stems that root themselves wherever they touch soil. These plants are built for dry conditions. The leaves are thick and waxy, designed to store water through long stretches without rain. You can plant a flat of these on a slope in May. Water them through the first month while the roots establish, and then mostly forget about them. Sedum doesn't want fertilizer, doesn't need mulch, and resents being watered more than once a week. Where to put it? The hottest, driest part of the slope. The strip along a south-facing foundation. The bank above a retaining wall that bakes by noon. The gaps between stones in a dry stone wall. Almost anywhere a homeowner has killed 3 other plants and walked away in frustration. A note on deer. Creeping sedum is usually left alone, but no plant is truly deer-proof. In a tough year with high pressure, deer will sample almost anything green. If your slope is in a deer corridor, pair the sedum with a more strongly aromatic plant nearby. Yarrow and Catmint, both coming up next, do this job well. The strip of land beside a driveway, sidewalk, or curb is one of the worst microclimates in any American yard. Reflected heat from pavement, compacted soil, salt damage in winter, runoff in summer, and a width too narrow for most shrubs. The plants that work there have to be tough enough to bake without complaining. Yarrow, Achillea millefolium, grows where almost nothing else will. It's hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, and it has a strange quality. The worse the soil, the better it performs. Rich, amended garden beds make yarrow flop, lean, and underperform. Gravel and dry, compacted dirt make it stand up straight, bloom harder, and spread further. The flowers form flat clusters in soft yellow, white, pink, coral, and deep red, depending on the cultivar. __, quote _ 0 _ is a warm coral red that softens as the flowers age. Quote 1 is a taller golden yellow that stays upright without staking. Quote 2 starts a deep raspberry and shifts to dusty pink. The feathery silver-green foliage is aromatic enough to make deer and rabbits keep walking. Where to put it? The dry strip beside a driveway. The cracked clay area along a south-facing foundation. The gravelly bed beside a parking pad. Or the meadow-style edge of a yard where you've stopped trying to mow. Plant it in full sun. Skip the compost. Don't fertilize. Water only through the first month of establishment. It spreads 2 ways at once. Rhizomes underground quietly expand the colony, and the seed heads drop seed that fills any gaps the rhizomes miss. One 3-year-old clump can yield 8 to 10 free divisions in a single morning with a spade, which is part of why Extension Services list it as one of the most cost-effective perennials for filling large, dry areas cheaply. Honest note: in a happy spot, yarrow can spread further than you wanted. If you want to keep it contained, deadhead the flowers before they set seed, and divide the clump every few years. Where yarrow gives you flat clusters and warm tones, catmint gives you a softer, hazier look. Nepeta _quote_3__ is one of the most reliable cultivars for American gardens. Hardy in USDA zones 4 through 8, mounding to about 2 feet tall. Nepeta Walker's Low is one of the most reliable cultivars for American gardens. Hardy in USDA zones 4 through 8, mounding to about 2 feet tall and producing lavender blue flowers from late spring through midsummer. The cultivar name is a little misleading. Walker's Low isn't low. It's actually one of the taller catmints. The reason catmint earns space along a driveway edge is the same reason it ends up in expensive professional landscape designs. It softens hard lines. A straight concrete driveway with a mounded haze of blue flowers spilling over the edge looks deliberate, not raw. Catmint flows over hardscape without any training, and the silver-gray aromatic foliage stays attractive long after the flowers fade. Where to put it? Along driveway and sidewalk edges where it can cascade over the curb, the front of a sunny border, the strip next to a mailbox, or anywhere deer have been eating your other plants for years. The aromatic oils in the foliage are strong enough that deer usually evaluate it from a distance and keep moving. Though again, deer-resistant is not the same as deer-proof. In a hard winter or a dry summer, hungry deer will sample almost anything. After the first bloom flush ends in mid to late June, cut it back hard. About half the height, all at once. 3 weeks later, it comes back with a full second wave of flowers that carries through the rest of summer. Most homeowners skip this cut and get a tired, half-bloomed plant from July onward. The cut is the difference. A quick note for cat owners. Catmint is in the same genus as catnip, and some cats find it interesting. It's not dangerous, but expect the occasional rolling visitor. The third plant for that hot, sunny strip is Threadleaf coreopsis. 2 cultivars dominate the market: Zagreb, hardy USDA 3 to 9, and Moonbeam, hardy USDA 4 to 9. Both are selections of Coreopsis verticillata, a native of the eastern and southeastern United States, so they're built for American heat and humidity in a way that a lot of imported perennials simply aren't. Zagreb has bright golden yellow daisy-like flowers and stays compact, around 12 to 18 inches tall. Moonbeam produces softer, pale yellow flowers and grows a few inches taller, but blooms with the same length and reliability. Both spread by rhizomes, and Zagreb will also drop seed in moist soil. In a fertile, well-watered border, that can become a little too enthusiastic. In a dry strip with poor soil, it stays well-mannered. Where to put it? The sunny edge that's been half-finished for 2 years. The front of a hot border. The foundation strip beside a south-facing wall. Or anywhere you want a long stretch of yellow daisies from June through fall. It needs full sun and well-drained soil. In heavy clay or wet conditions, the crown rots. The plant is short-lived in rich, moist soil and surprisingly long-lived in dry, lean conditions, which is the opposite of what most homeowners assume. Deadhead once or twice through the season to keep the bloom going. By late summer, the foliage can look ragged. A hard mid-season cut back to about 6 inches, gives you fresh growth and often a second flush of flowers heading into fall. The foliage is non-toxic to dogs, cats, and horses, according to extension toxicity references. Quick question. Which spot in your yard has eaten the most plants you've tried? The dry strip by the driveway? The slope? The shaded corner under a tree? The bare middle section of a border? Tell me your USDA zone and the spot. I read every comment. The front walkway is the first thing visitors see, and it's also one of the spots where small details matter most. A gap between pavers, a soft edge along the front of a bed, the seam between the path and the lawn. These aren't bare patches in the conventional sense, but they're what makes a yard look finished or unfinished from 20 feet away. Thymus serpillum, creeping thyme, is the classic plant for filling gaps between stepping stones and softening the seam between paving and bed. It grows 2 to 3 inches tall, forms a dense mat of tiny aromatic leaves, and releases a clean herbal scent when stepped on. Hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9, with full sun and well-drained soil. Honest note up front. Creeping thyme is slower than gardeners expect. The first season is mostly root development with modest top growth. By year 2, the plants start to knit together. By year 3, you have a continuous mat. If you want a faster fill, buy plugs or quart-sized starter plants instead of seeds. Space them tight, 6 to 8 inches apart, and water consistently through the first 2 months. Cultivars worth knowing. Elfin stays ultra-low and tight, ideal for narrow paver gaps. Magic Carpet has bright pink flowers and a more vigorous spread. Coccineus, sometimes sold as red creeping thyme, gives the deepest magenta pink bloom and the strongest scent. Where to put it? The gaps between pavers in a walkway, the seam beside a flagstone path, the dry edge of a raised bed, or the band of soil between a driveway and a planting area. Avoid soggy spots. Root rot will end the plant fast. Avoid full shade. It stretches, weakens, and stops blooming. Light foot traffic is fine. Daily heavy traffic is not.
It's deer and rabbit resistant for the same reason as most aromatic herbs. The scent puts grazers off before they get close enough to taste it.
The edge that runs along the front of a border. The 4 to 12 inches of soil between a path and the rest of the planting is one of the most useful places to put lamb's ear. Stachys byzantina grows about 6 to 12 inches tall, with leaves wrapped in a dense layer of silvery white woolly hair. The texture is exactly like its name. People who don't garden reach down and touch it without being asked. It's hardy in USDA zones 4 through 8, prefers full sun, and demands sharp drainage. In humid southern summers with heavy soil, lamb's ear can rot out in the center. Gardeners in zones 7 through 9, especially in the southeast, should mound the planting bed slightly, mix in coarse sand or fine gravel, and avoid heavy mulch right against the crown. Where to put it? The front edge of a sunny border, along paths, between groupings of darker or more saturated flowers. The silver foliage works like a quiet color amplifier. It makes purple flowers look richer, pink flowers softer, and red flowers more vivid. It also blocks weed germination once the dense leaves close in. 2 cultivar notes worth mentioning. Helene von Stein, sometimes sold as big ears, has dramatically larger leaves and rarely flowers, which is useful for gardeners who don't want the bloom stalks. The standard species sends up flower spikes that some people find lovely and others find untidy. The species spreads via stolons, surface stems that root at the nodes at a steady, manageable pace. A single-gallon plant covers a 3-foot circle in 2 to 3 seasons. If the center thins out after a few years, lift the plant, separate the healthy outer sections, and replant. That's the same process used to keep this plant going for decades in older gardens.
If this is the kind of practical, problem-specific gardening advice you wish someone had handed you before your last trip to the garden center, subscribe. This channel is built around one simple idea: match the plant to the actual problem, with real American yard conditions in mind. The bare patch under a tree is one of the most frustrating spots in any yard. Dry shade is genuinely hard. Tree roots compete aggressively for water. The canopy blocks most rainfall from reaching the ground, and most shade plants sold at the garden center are actually moist shade plants that quietly die under a maple. Geranium macrorhizum, the big root geranium, is the plant that does what most shade ground covers can't. It thrives in dry shade. The actual hard kind, under mature trees with shallow root systems and rain-blocking canopies. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 8, it grows about a foot tall with deeply lobed, fragrant, semi-evergreen leaves that form a thick, weed-suppressing mat. The Missouri Botanical Gardens Plant Finder lists this as one of the most drought-tolerant true geraniums available. The thick rhizomes store enough water that the plant tolerates extended dry stretches once it's established. It spreads by those same rhizomes, which run along the soil surface and root in as they go. Extension trials describe it as vigorous but easily controlled. Pieces lift out cleanly if it goes further than you wanted. Where to put it? Under a maple, oak, or magnolia where nothing else has worked. The shaded north side of the house where rain never quite reaches. The bare patch between a path and a tree trunk. The slope under high canopy trees where you've given up on lawn. Any spot with shade ranging from light to deep, and any soil from heavy clay to gravelly loam. Big root geranium tolerates the full range. The spring flowers are small, in pink, magenta, or white depending on the cultivar. Bevan's variety is the most vigorous, with deep magenta blooms. Spessart has soft pink-white flowers and a slightly tidier habit. Ingerson's variety is the most aromatic. The spicy citrus scent when you brush against it is one of the small pleasures of this plant. A few other things worth knowing. It's non-toxic to dogs, cats, and horses, deer and rabbit resistant, and semi-evergreen in zone 6 and warmer. The foliage turns red and bronze in fall. Once established, it asks for almost nothing. You plant it, water it through the first month, and the next time you look at that bare patch under the tree, it isn't bare anymore. This is the plant most extension specialists point homeowners toward when they describe the impossible spot under a tree where everything dies. It earns the recommendation. A thin, sunny border, the kind with a few perennials spaced too far apart, gaps that look like missing teeth, and a heavy mulch layer just hiding bare soil, needs plants that bulk up quickly and fill the space. 2 perennials do this job better than almost anything else available at an average American garden center. Rudbeckia fulgida, goldsturm, is the cultivar to ask for by name. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, growing about 2 to 3 feet tall, blooming from July through October, with golden yellow petals around a dark chocolate brown center. The standard species, the wild black-eyed Susan you see along American highways, is a short-lived perennial or biennial. Goldsturm is a true perennial, selected for stronger return year after year, longer bloom season, and more flowers per stem. Where to put it? The mid-back of a sunny border, the middle of a thin foundation planting, the bare stretch between shrubs, or a strip of yard you want to feel finished by August. Plant in full sun for the heaviest bloom. It tolerates light shade, but produces fewer flowers and gets a little floppy. Most soils work, including average clay. Heavy, wet soils through winter can cause crown rot, so good drainage matters more than fertility. It spreads two ways. The clump itself widens through underground rhizomes, and the flowers drop seed that germinates the following spring. By year 3, a single starter plant can have produced a sweeping colony 3 to 4 feet wide with little additional input. Leave the seed heads standing through winter. Goldfinches, sparrows, and chickadees feed on them straight through the cold months. That's one of the small ecological benefits of skipping fall cleanup that isn't actually skipping anything. Cut the stems down in early spring before the new growth pushes up. In humid southern summers, occasional fungal leaf spot can appear. Spacing plants for air circulation, watering at the base rather than overhead, and removing badly affected leaves keeps it manageable in most years. Monarda didyma, bee balm, fills a thin border faster than almost anything else on this list. It's a member of the mint family, and it behaves like one. Underground rhizomes push outward in every direction, and a single plant can colonize a 3-foot section in 2 seasons. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, depending on the cultivar, growing 2 to 4 feet tall, blooming late June through August. The flowers are spiky and tubular, in red, deep pink, purple, or white. The tubular shape happens to fit hummingbird beaks perfectly, which is why bee balm has the reputation it does for pulling hummingbirds close to a yard. Bumblebees and native bees work the flowers all day. Monarchs and swallowtails visit constantly. Honest note up front, the older bee balm cultivars, the ones still common in inherited gardens, are notorious for powdery mildew. The leaves turn white and curl by August. The plant survives, but it looks terrible. Modern mildew-resistant cultivars have largely solved this problem. Quote 8 in deep red and quote 9 in rich pink are 2 of the most reliable performers across most American zones. Quote 10 is a long-blooming pink with very strong mildew resistance, verified in university performance trials. Where to put it? A sunny border with average to moist soil. A wet spot where most perennials struggle. The back of a border with room to spread. Or a corner where you don't mind it running. The leaves are completely edible and brew into a tea that tastes remarkably close to bergamot, the same flavor that defines Earl Grey. If you want to keep it contained, divide the clump every 2 to 3 years in early spring, and pull up any wandering rhizomes that have moved further than you wanted. Or plant it in a spot where the spreading is the feature, not the problem. Most yards have a section that quits in early September. The summer flowers are tired, the foliage is dusty, the color is gone, and the rest of the year doesn't really need to look this way. One plant on this list earns its place specifically for that gap. Symphyiotrichum novae Angliae, the New England aster, is the late season specialist. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 8, native across most of the eastern and central United States, blooming from September through October, sometimes into early November in the southern part of its range. The flowers are daisy-like, in deep violet purple, rich pink, lavender, or white, with golden centers. The plant is genuinely important for monarch butterflies. According to monitoring by Monarch Watch and several university entomology programs, New England aster is one of the most valuable late-season nectar sources for monarchs along their fall migration route to Mexico. A patch of asters in a yard during late September provides fuel for the butterflies in a window when most other plants have already stopped flowering. That's a real, measurable contribution from a home garden, and it costs you nothing beyond putting the plant in the ground. Where to put it? The middle to back of a sunny border. The space behind plants that finish in July. The corner of a yard that goes blank by September. Or a wildflower-style edge along a fence or property line. Full sun and average to moderately moist soil are ideal. Heavy clay is fine. Drought during summer drops flower production but rarely kills the plant. It spreads through rhizomes and self-seeds reliably. By year 3, a single starter plant can become a colony 2 to 3 feet wide. One step most homeowners skip: pinch the plant twice. Once in late May, cutting the stems back by half. Once again in late June, cutting back by half, 2 pinches. That single sequence creates dramatically more branching, more flower stems, and a compact, dense, self-supporting mound that doesn't flop or need staking. Skip the pinches, and you get a plant that splits open at the center by September and produces a fraction of the flowers it was capable of. If you don't want to bother with the pinches, look for purple dome. That cultivar stays naturally short, under 2 feet, and forms a tidy mound without any intervention. A few words on what happens after the planting. The first month after a perennial goes in the ground is more important than anything that follows. Even tough, drought-tolerant plants need consistent water during establishment. The roots are short, they haven't anchored yet, and the plant cannot pull moisture from soil it hasn't grown into. Plan to water every 2 to 3 days for the first month if there's no rain, then taper through the second month. And by month 3, most of these plants should be settling into a more independent rhythm. One general rule worth keeping: a deep, slow watering once or twice a week is dramatically better than a quick daily sprinkle. Deep water pulls roots downward. Shallow water keeps them on the surface, where they fail at the first heat wave. Mulch matters too, but not the way most homeowners use it. A thin layer, about an inch, around the plant but not touching the crown keeps moisture in and weeds out without rotting the stem. The mulch volcano piled 6 inches deep against the stem of a new plant is one of the most common causes of first-year failure. A note on division: almost every plant on this list can be divided every 3 to 4 years. Each division is a complete, viable plant that costs nothing beyond half an hour with a spade. A mature yarrow clump can yield 8 or 10 free plants. A mature New England aster can yield 5 or 6. After a few seasons, the spreaders on this list become a source of more plants than most homeowners need. If this gave you a plan for one ugly spot, drop a comment with your USDA zone and the spot you're starting with. Slope, walkway gap, dry shade under a tree, bare strip beside the driveway, whatever it is. The answers shape what gets covered next. If you want more videos that match plants to actual problems instead of dumping lists of pretty flowers on you, subscribe before you click away. Pick one spot. Match it to one plant. Plant it before Memorial Day weekend if you can. The yard you'll be looking at in July is built by the decisions you make in the next 2 weeks.